I'll tell you a story. Someone in my community, he told me I can share this story. He was dating somebody who was not Jewish. He was set up with a girl who wasn't Jewish. And she was actually from Rome. But she was living in Toronto. So he went, so they were planning to meet up. I don't know if it was, I think it was the first time. I think it was the first time they were set up. And she said, I'm actually flying back to Italy. Why don't you make a trip out of it? Why don't you come to Italy? So he says, you know what, that sounds great. He said she was a beautiful girl, she's very intelligent, whatever. So he makes up, he's going to fly there, they're going to meet up, spend a few days together. He flies to Italy, and they meet in Rome. They meet at this beautiful fountain, and he said that, she said, I'll give you a tour, I'll take you around. She starts taking around all around Rome. The first place they go is a church. So he said, when we go into this church, the first thing she did was she did this, sprinkling of water on herself, and then she did the cross, right? She crossed herself. Okay, whatever, fine. She showed him around. And then the second place they went to was another church. He said, we went in together. He told me, he said, we went in together. And again, this time she sprinkled the water on herself, and she crossed herself, and then she took her hand and she started to cross me, to do it for me. Now this is a guy, he's not religious. He said, I grabbed her hand and I said, don't ever do that. He said, and he's a very gentle guy. He's like, I don't know what overcame me. He said, but I said, don't ever do that. He said, I was shocked by myself. He said in that moment, I realized what was important to me. But how did he even get to that point where he finds himself in Rome, in Italy, in a church with an Italian girl? If the whole time his filter was, Hashem Melech, what does God want from me? He never would have ended up there in the first place. Baruch Hashem, his neshama was calling out nice and loud. And in that moment, he was able to realign. But it's the same idea. If we forget what Adam knew, we have to remind ourselves every Rosh Hashanah. And that's what we're doing. That's the avodah. On Rosh Hashanah, yes, a body and a guf, and they want separate things. But what are we asking for Rosh Hashanah? What we're saying, what we're declaring is, I want the clarity once again. I want the clarity so that the one who wins every time I find losing myself is going to be the neshama that is saying, Hashem Melech. That should be your filter. What does Hashem want?